Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a zombie horror film, The Return of the Living Dead Part 1. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a text telling us we are about to witness true events based on real people and real organizations. Then we move to July 1984, where we see some men inside a medical store warehouse. They consist of a young man named Freddy, his warehouse manager, and their senior named Boss. The men are preparing for the 4th of July celebrations, and the boss leaves after wishing the other men best of luck with their work. Now, manager tells Freddy to prepare a couple of skeletons to be shipped to a medical school because an order has arrived for them. The medical school needs one male and one female skeleton, so manager explains to Freddy how he should be sorting out the skeletons and laying them down inside the storage boxes for delivery. In the middle of this lecture, Freddy is amazed to learn that most of the skeletons come from India, but manager is even more interested in learning how so many skeletons are found with the perfect set of teeth. Now manager shows Freddy the rest of the warehouse, which also includes cadavers used for medical schools and even the US military. After his tutorial, Freddy is taken to a freezing room where he sees a fresh corpse hanging like a piece of beef. He is visibly scared to see the dead body, but walks out of the room to avoid puking from the sight. Meanwhile, Freddy's friends walk around town like a bunch of goons and decide to hit him up for some fun. The friends include Freddy's girlfriend, Babe, a jerk named Bully, his twinning buddy, a goth girl, and a nerd couple. Now Freddy and manager sit down for work, but also talk about all the weird things they've seen in their lives. That's when manager mentions a zombie movie named The Night of the Living Dead. He explains that the movie was actually based on a true story, but had to change the facts in order to avoid a legal lawsuit from the US military. Manager proceeds to talk about a toxic chemical named trioxin, which is capable of turning people into zombies. Apparently, there was a mishap at the military facility where the toxic trioxin was being kept, and it led to a spillage, which leaked out and sparked off the zombie apocalypse as per the true events. Freddy is amazed to hear the story, but doesn't believe it because he suspects his manager of feeding him smelly bullshit. However, manager explains that he was in the transportation and logistics department of the army, so he knows the truth about the zombies. He even goes on to claim that he has transported some of the infected zombie bodies to this very warehouse. This spooks out Freddy, but the men get interrupted by a phone call, which simply turns out to be manager's wife. After a brief chat, manager takes Freddy downstairs to show him one of the infected corpses. They avoid a broken step on their way and reach the basement, where there is a military barrel filled with a frozen body, which is supposed to be a zombie. Freddy cannot believe his eyes and asks manager if the zombie inside the barrel is actually alive. Luckily, manager reassures Freddy that this is military-grade equipment, so there's nothing to worry about. However, when he smacks the barrel to establish dominance, it starts to spill toxic gas and knocks out both the men with its stinky fumes. This also leads to the frozen zombie thawing, hinting that it's going to awaken soon. The toxic gas spills everywhere, and it also reaches the hanging corpse, which seemingly starts to move after inhaling the fumes. The shot then transitions to the American flag, and then we see a luxury car entering a giant mansion. A colonel enters his home and meets his wife, who asks him how his day was. He doesn't look very happy and asks what's for dinner. After learning that there are lamb chops, the colonel gets upset and goes to his room. Here, he checks in with his work colleagues through his communication device. The colonel then talks to his wife, and they have an argument regarding his communication device. It's hinted that the colonel is hiding a secret, which he doesn't reveal for now. Later, we see Freddy's friends in Bully's car riding towards him so that they can have some fun together. Babe defends Freddy's habits, but Bully simply calls him a loser for having a job and being a responsible citizen. The friends reach the medical warehouse, but have to wait for another 2 hours till Freddy's shift gets over, so they go to the graveyard nearby to have some fun. While they wreak havoc inside the graveyard, we see Freddy and his manager, both of whom finally wake up from their slumber. Their noses are still stinging from the fumes, and then Freddy notices that the body in the barrel is missing. Manager remains calm and assumes that the body might have melted. But when the men go back upstairs, they hear a dog barking. After some looking around, they find a dog statue, which is sliced in half, but has somehow become alive. This creeps out manager, so he angrily smashes the zombie dog in a state of panic. After that, the hanging corpse becomes a zombie and starts attacking a sealed door, making Freddy cluck like a scared chicken. It turns out that the toxic gas has made everything alive, even non-sentient items, thus proving that it is indeed trioxin. Freddy wants to call the cops, but manager doesn't want any legal trouble, so he decides to call boss instead. Meanwhile, Goth Girl entertains the team by exposing her body smell while fantasizing about death. She undresses and reveals her naked body, thus giving everyone a free show. Now boss learns about what just happened and decides to get rid of the zombie evidence. For starters, the men need to handle the hanging zombie banging the door, so boss makes a plan to kill it. As per the movie mentioned by manager earlier, killing the zombie through the head seems to be the best way, so the men act accordingly. However, after freeing the hanging zombie who's not hanging anymore, boss gets attacked and struggles to break free. The hanging zombie is tough and even survives a blow to the head. This is a bit too confusing for the men as they restrain the hanging zombie, but boss figures they should just use sulfuric acid to get the job done. Now, Goth Girl unleashes her hormones on Bully, hoping to get laid, but he sends her sexy body away because he wants to respect the dead. Meanwhile, the nerd couple spots someone in the grave, and they think if it's Freddy, but reason that he has no business being in a graveyard right now. However, their suspicions are true, as we see Boss meeting a doctor who's working on a dead body. They share a chat reminiscing about old times, but then Boss cuts to the chase and reveals his true bossy colors. He wants a favor from Doctor, who agrees to help, so Boss brings Freddy and manager inside the room. They have chopped up bags with them, and it confuses Doctor, but the men say these are wild weasels. After a bit of back and forth, Doctor calls out Boss's bullshit and finally learns the truth. The men unleash one of the zombie's arms from the bags, and it attacks Doctor, much to his shock and disgust. He gets saved from the arm, and then Boss asks him for help in getting rid of the chopped-up zombie. Then, we see the nerd couple discussing a potential session of hormone yoga, but Babe wants Freddy, so she ignores the others and goes looking for him in the medical warehouse. Doctor asks Boss for some payment in exchange for his services, and they eventually agree to use the incinerator to burn down the zombie statue. Doctor gets to work and burns the zombie pieces without mercy, while also telling Boss he owes him big time. However, upon getting burned, the zombie fumes go up into the sky, and then it starts to rain. The zombie smoke makes the rain acidic, and it torments Freddy's friends. They go back inside the car, hoping that the car is zombie-proof, but Goth Girl worries about what's currently on her naked skin. The worst part is that the rain makes something happen to all the bodies buried in the graveyard. After the burning is complete, Freddy reveals that the trioxin from the barrel made him and manager sick, so Doctor suggests getting some paramedics for assistance. Manager loses his mind and starts coughing violently, so Doctor calls for medical help. Meanwhile, the zombie rain awakens the zombie graves, and Goth Girl continues to panic because the rain is leaking into the car. Now Babe looks for Freddy in the medical warehouse, but comes across the zombie that went missing from the barrel. She runs her sexy body up the stairs, but falls through the broken step and has to lock herself inside a closet because the barrel zombie wants her brains, but not her sexy body. A tense sequence follows as the barrel zombie exhibits intelligence while using a chain to break open the closet. Bully and the team reach the scene after listening to Babe's chicken screams, and they find the barrel zombie inside the basement. The barrel zombie attacks Bully and eats his brains, so the others run their shitty lives away along with Babe and lock themselves out of the basement. Then, we see Freddy and his manager being treated by a couple of paramedics who come to check them out. Here, they learn that their body temperatures have gone significantly lower, and on top of that, they have no blood pressure or pulse either. This is a bit of a shock for Freddy, so he begins to panic like a goose with goosebumps, just like Babe and the others who make a quick escape, hoping to avoid the barrel zombie. Unfortunately, they get stuck in the rain and are attacked by more zombies. Babe and the others run away from the zombies, but Goth Girl gets abandoned and is eaten without mercy. Freddy is told that he's technically supposed to be dead, but is also conscious. So this is an anomaly of science. Babe and the two of them reach Doctor's home and ask for help, so the paramedics go out to call for support. However, they are attacked and eaten by zombies, after which we see the nerdy couple taking refuge inside the medical warehouse. Babe finds Freddy and smothers him with tongue massages, but is shocked to see his state, as if he's part of a sick experiment. Doctor goes out to look for the paramedics, but finds them getting chewed on by the zombies. He shoots one of them, but it's of no use, so he rushes back home. The team gets together and decides to call the cops. But then, a zombie goes to the ambulance and radios for more paramedics. Boss explains that this is all because of the zombie fumes leaked by Freddy and his manager, and then Doctor notices that Freddy is about to die, which means he'll mostly become a zombie. Some more paramedics arrive, but they are quickly eaten by the zombies in front of the team. The zombies then break through the house. After a brief muscle wrestling, a zombie lady kills the twinning buddy, not wanting to make a zombie baby with him. Doctor and the others manage to seal the house and tie up the lady zombie so that they can learn more about her zombified but still sexy body. The lady zombie explains that she and the other zombies only eat brains, not smelly parts, because it makes the pain of being dead go away. Meanwhile, Goth Girl turns into a goth zombie and attacks an innocent man passing by. The cops get involved because of a zombie radio alert and send the car to investigate the scene. Doctor and the others put Freddy and Manager inside a chapel room because they don't want them around when they become zombies. Babe decides to stay with Freddy because of her undying love for him. But things only get worse when the cops arrive and are attacked by the zombies, thus falling into the trap. Hope seems to be running out, but Doctor notices that he has some nitric acid, which can be used as a weapon. Now Freddy turns into a zombie, traces Babe's smelly hormones, and attacks her without mercy, while Manager also completes his transformation. Doctor and the others come to the rescue with the nitric acid and blind zombie Freddy. But they don't seem to notice zombie Manager escaping in the background. Zombie Freddy breaks free, so one option is to hide in the attic, but Boss decides to go to the police car instead. He avoids the zombies and tries to help the others, but there are too many zombies, so they make a run for it. Unfortunately, there's a zombie apocalypse in effect, so the men drive in a different direction and bump into the nerd couple at the medical warehouse. Meanwhile, Zombie Manager burns his body in the incinerator because he can't take more of the pain. The zombies continue to terrorize the city and even kill the cops coming toward them. Doctor and Babe hide in the attic while Zombie Freddy taunts them, hoping to get a bite of Babe's brains. Boss and the others decide to call the cops for help, and they lure out the barrel zombie so that they can access the phone in the basement. The team knocks out the zombie's head and rushes to the phone to call for help. However, the cops are ambushed by the zombie invasion and get defeated with ease. Realizing what has happened, Boss tries his last resort and contacts the Colonel through an operator. It turns out that the Colonel already anticipated something like this because he talks to his team by calling the zombies eggs, which have now hatched. This is the secret he was hiding from his wife earlier. The Colonel carries out a nuclear strike by contacting another soldier and giving him the necessary codes. The soldier fires the bomb at the target city at the exact same moment Zombie Freddy breaks through the ceiling. The Colonel then talks to his superior and tells him the matter is closed because all that remains is burning skin, which will be washed away by the rain. However, we are shown the earlier footage of a skeleton zombie awakening from the zombie rain, so it is left to our imagination to wonder if humanity will face the same fate again. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.